Welcome to BS session number 99. This is an excerpt from the TV show MASH. Look, I know how tough it is for you to say goodbye, so I'll say it. Maybe you're right. Maybe we will see each other again. But just in case we don't, I want you to know how much you've meant to me. I'll never be able to shake you. Whenever I see a big pair of feet or a cheesy mustache, I'll think of you.
Whenever I smell month-old socks, I'll think of you.
Or the next time someone nails my shoe to the floor.
Or when someone gives me a martini that tastes like lighter fluid.
I'll miss you.
I'll miss you a lot. I can't imagine what this place would be like if I haven't found you here.
Because I have a shotgun and rifle that I use for, and 22 gauge that I use for ptarmigan, moose, and black bear.
You're so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
You're listening to your weekly dose of BS. Ballistically Speaking. The Ballistically Speaking Podcast.
Is my mustache that cheesy?
It is. I'll tell you what, this martini does not taste like lighter fluid, though. It tastes a lot better.
It's because I didn't make it.
Mm-hmm.
You guys should have rehearsed more. Damn it.
I kind of sprung the idea on everybody a little bit shortly beforehand, so.
Well, at least you were paying attention to it.
Yes.
All right, fellas, how's everybody tonight? Say that again, JR.
I'm impressed you guys caught the reference.
As soon as I saw that, I'm like, he's a man of culture.
Yes.
I'm like, what the hell is this?
Culture, yeah. Rooster missed out on it. Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. Anytime MASH ever came on, either when I was young enough, it was past my bedtime, or when I got old enough, I was out feeding cows when it was on. So.
Pesky cows getting in the way. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's get into things here. Episode BS session 99, brought to you today, as always, by EM Precision Rifles in Leduc, Alberta, building Canada's finest precision rifles. Find Shane and Steve on Facebook, Instagram, and on their website at emprifles.ca.
And we are also brought to you by Bolt Action Coffee, bringing specialty coffee to the precision shooting world. Order coffee and merchandise at boltactioncoffee.com.
Call sign 66, Canada's best rifle training. Welcome to the Brotherhood. Book a course now at callsign66.ca and follow them on Instagram at callsign66 and on Facebook at C/S66.
Flawless. And we're here also thanks to Odell Engineering. Pick up a Canuck shotgun or Bergara rifle from your local distributor and tell them Phil sent you. Look them up on Instagram, Flakebook, and on their website at odellengineeringltd.com. Check out the new Canuck Wrangler in 357 mag. Somebody says here in the notes of the tactical one. There are several offerings there. Hey, there's what was it? The 357 mag and 38 special?
Yeah. That's the same one.
Yeah, they're interchangeable.
There's three different flavors of them, though.
Yes, there's three different flavors.
But the tactical one is the best one.
Mike may have some bias there.
Slight bias.
Yeah.
Well,
but
Odell, like Phil Odell, he specs some pretty good guns. So, I expect nothing but greatness out of it.
It's got all the things you want on a lever gun. So,
and none at that Marlin price you don't want.
Yeah, right.
No.
Good Lord.
And we don't want to forget our friends at Apex Optics. When you buy Apex, precision comes standard. Check out all the fine competition rifle scopes, red dots, and binoculars at apexoptics.co. And just a reminder that the red dots have arrived. Get yours today. We have the Atom and the Fusion.
Also brought to you by Ribstone Gunsmithing. Craftsmanship done right. Contact Oscar at ribstonegunsmithing.ca and breathe life back into any firearm.
And
finally, thanks. Hey,
hold on. We got more. My turn.
Sorry. Finally, thanks to Doug and Nisa at Mark Scopes Canada, the Dion Optical Design line of rifle scopes has a scope for all your hunting and shooting needs. Find Doug and Nisa at markscopes.ca. And now that's it.
There we go.
And we have our good friend of the show, JR Cox, here today. How's it going, JR?
Cheers, boys.
Cheers.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Shit, I'm in camp.
That's okay. We'll allow it this time.
Oh, well, bless your heart.
You're in camp. Somebody's holding.
So how have the last couple days been, JR? What's it like?
Hectic. I think, we shut the doors Sunday night, and then that's when the real work began. But Monday night was probably the hardest night, because that's when we told the staff. Because the staff didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did we lose them again?
There's a lot of reasons why they didn't know. So we've been trying to sell. I've been trying to sell the shooting edge or bring in an investor since like November of last year.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, because of the lease, I had to have permission from the landlord to do any kind of change of. If I brought in a significant partner, investor, like just I had to have I had to have their permission. I do again.
Okay.
And they just kept, and I promised that I'm trying not to get you guys demonetized. So I'm trying not to swear in the first 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The landlord, kept screwing it up. So Collier's the guy we're dealing with. He was a bully in it and very unprofessional, but he kept screwing it up, throwing really unreasonable conditions in, and it would tank every deal. To the finally the point where I thought we had one, I thought we were done, I thought we were going to be doing something, and then the end of the last week of August, they sent us a final renewal and sales proposal from Collier's, and they said it was from the building owner, and it had all kinds of like wackadoodle conditions. They want all kinds of personal guarantees, a bunch of money up front for the damage deposit. They wanted a damage deposit of $150,000. They wanted personal guarantees on the rent for the duration of the lease. They wanted personal guarantees on dilapidations. They wanted a personal guarantee on a environmental clause for the building. So, nobody's going to sign those.
Mm-hmm.
So it tanked the last deal. So the issue is that at that point I knew we were done, because I'm tapped. For the last couple of years, I've used all my money from my other businesses to prop up the shooting edge, thinking we could change things. Because the landlord kept promising that if we jump through hoops, like I'm a trained SEAL. I've jumped through so many hoops for these guys, and they just kept changing the bar. So we knew we were done. Like I'm tapped out. I've borrowed from everybody. I've leaned out. I've cashed in my pension for the military. I have cashed in my RSPs, my investments. Like we're done. So it's like we have to. This is done. Because I don't want to lose Target Sports and I don't want to lose Sterling. Like the shooting edge, I can't keep doing this. We're talking to the sum of at a good month, I'd only take 40,000, but on a bad month, up to 100,000 from everything else.
Oh wow!
Like we're talking big money here, and it accumulated over the last couple of years.
Even on the low end, you times that by 12.
Yeah, like so the problem is that and so our rent right now was sitting at 95,000 a month because we're a triple net lease. And the building owner went to the city and they said, hey, our building is not light industrial. We're mixed retail, because we got a farmer's market, a retail sporting goods store, a school, a wine store. So we need you to change our zoning. And the city's like, damn, sure, of course we will. So the tax bill on the property went from in the mid 40s for the year, like 40,000 for the year, to over 600,000 for the year.
Jesus Christ!
What?
And we're all on triple net lease, so they don't care, right? They don't care. So they divide it between us for square footage. So all of a sudden I had for last year, I got a special assessment in March or April for $65,000. And then I got a special assessment in June for this year for $80,000. So, and they go, yeah, but remember now next year, we're going to be adding this to the ongoing rent. So now my rent was already 95. And so it's going to be going up to 100 to 105,000 minimum in January.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like $1.2 million in rent. Like it's
That's ludicrous.
ridiculous, considering that 3 years ago my triple net was 61, which was sucky. But when you're selling, when you're selling handguns and black guns, and you're selling all that, and you have all the members from that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not great. You can get by. Like there's enough profit to make it work.
Yeah.
Then we lose the rifles. Rifles come. We lose the black rifles and the 10 gauge shotguns. There's all the safari guns, all the precision rifles that were over 10,000 joules, and that cost us $1 million in revenue. Plus, we got hit with about $500,000 to $700,000 in inventory that we can't do anything about. So that inventory goes into a sea can and sits there. We tried to write it off the next year because it said it's dead inventory. CRA came back and said, they've promised a buyback. So that is going to be at market value. So you're going to get your money. So you can't even write that off. So we're paying tax as an asset on that inventory
That you can't do anything with.
We tried to get an export permit. We couldn't get export permits. Like it's just brutal. So it's like salt on a wound. So it's all of these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it just added up. So it's just like we just can't do it. As much as we love the place, and I should have shut it down 2 years ago, but my the hubris and my ego and just my love of the place, just I kept thinking, hey, if we just keep doing it, we keep doing it. Yep. That's what we're that's what happened. Basically in a nutshell. So come to the present, and we're in August. We find we can't do anything. Like we just can't get investors. We can't renegotiate the lease. Nothing. So I decided we got to shut down, but we can't tell the staff. And the reason we didn't tell the staff is I'm like trying to figure out how I'm going to do this, because remember we have hundreds of stored guns. We have lockers full of stuff. We have about 200 long-term stored guns for people who are out of the country. So we got all this stuff going on in the background. So what do you do with that? Because in my mind, I don't know if any Calgarians on here will remember, back in the 90s, there was a shooting range here called the Firing Line. And the Firing Line just did that. When they shut down, they basically threw the keys at the cops and said, yeah, we're done. And so all the guns went to the Calgary Police Service. And then people had to try to deal with it through the police. And then the police, after about, 6 months, said, oh, if they haven't come by now, they've been abandoned. So they destroyed the rest of them, right? So it was just a shit show. So I remember that. So I'm like, I got to live in this town. So if I did that, people would spit on me if I showed up at a shooting range, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to shut the place down. I have to find something. We got to get a lease. We got to deal with the CFO. We need to get a business license to be able to move these guns.
Yeah.
And I got to say, the fucking Alberta CFO's office is epic. Mm-hmm. Epic. They got me a business license, provisional, so I could move the guns in storage, so it's not retail or anything, in 3 weeks.
Oh wow!
In Ontario, they would have spit on me and kicked me out the door, mm-hmm. right? And then that so that's the problem. So we thought we'd try to sell the place. We thought it was sold, and it didn't. And then we had to do something, right? So it sucks. So then we found a place where we had to build the vaults, get it approved, alarms, all this stuff, so then we can move everything over when we close.
Okay.
We have a due diligence to these guys
Mhm.
to get their stuff over, because I can't let them deal with the landlord or the police for their stuff.
Yeah.
So
That's not fair. Yeah.
no, that's not reasonable. And also too is, I mean, I've had the staff for a long time. Like I've had a lot of staff like up to 10 years.
Mhm.
I got 26 staff. So for me to close down, I got to figure out how am I going to pay these people their severance,
Hmm.
right? It's one thing to walk away from the landlord. I mean, they're a $10.5 billion fund,
Yeah.
but my staff come in every day. They work their butts off, and they got to pay. It's the first of the month. They got to pay the rent. They've got bills to pay. Like they need their final pay, but then they also need their severance, because who knows how long it'll take for them to get a job, an equal job. Because we treated our staff pretty fair. They got above market wages. They had full benefits that we paid for. Like I think we did a pretty good job of looking after the employees.
Mhm.
We really valued them. Like they were a great team. I mean, just look at our Facebook 5 stars. Like we didn't, we've never paid for a review, right? And we have like 1,700 5-star reviews. Like we've got tons. People enjoyed coming in. They loved the staff. The staff looked after people. Like it was a great job. And Steve ran the place wonderfully, right? So it is. It came to that. So we had to run the company basically to save as much money as we could, and then at the very end, before we could close it down, pay the staff out. And I know there's people on there like I won't go into this, like they're asking about their memberships and why they get their membership fees. When we thought it was sold, there's a double-edged sword. We thought it was sold, so I thought the new people who were going to buy it when they took over in October they wanted to have the membership fees. So I said we started selling prorated membership fees in July. And then July, then August, September. September we didn't sell any memberships, because once we knew in August, I said, well, September 1st we can't sell. We can't sell memberships. Like again, I know guys who bought memberships the last weeks of the firing line, and then they closed the doors, right? So again, it was another douchey thing to do. So here we are. We get there. So we stopped selling memberships. We prorated them. I know that from our system that we sell like 75% of our memberships for the year between the middle of September to the middle of February.
Mhm.
I know that the bulk, but by far the bulk of our members are down to the last 3 and 4 months of their membership.
Yeah.
So yeah, they didn't get full value of those memberships. I understand that, and they're going to be upset about this. But there's only so much I can do. Like it came down to like when I have this pot of money at the end, right? What do I do with it? Like we ran a sale, we collected this money, and to be quite honest, I could either pay my staff or pay members. And for me, the decision was easy.
Mm-hmm.
The decision was easy. I'm going to pay my staff, right? So
also another thing to jump in here, if you waited till the end of the year, January, all of a sudden you're laying off your staff right after the holidays.
Yeah.
If you were to wait to that point, that'd be a real dick move. So it's much better timing wise for them and members. And in that regard, because think about how nice that would be if that happened to your job. So I think that is a good call. So,
well, also we couldn't do it. Like I'm tapped out. Like there was no way we could have dragged this out any further. Like the stress in the last, the last 6 months, especially like once my wife, after we put all of our money in and we kept pumping it in, we kept getting manipulated by the landlord, promises of this, promises of that, and then it would just keep getting flipped on us. The stress of that, right? So yes, some of the members didn't get full value. They're not getting reimbursed, but they're out a couple of $100. Like we should have raised prices last year. Like the price of this membership, and I'll bet you dollars to donuts, the membership prices in Calgary at the other ranges, now that there's only 2 of them, are going up.
Absolutely, yeah.
Everybody's been holding the prices down because there's been 3 of us.
Yeah.
Because the last time we raised our prices was in 2018. We raised it $50, and the hurt from a number of members, and they were like, well, we're going over to the other place. It's $50. It's $25 less. Like, sorry, man, it's all about economics. I just want a place to shoot. So okay, so that's the way, that's really the way it is. So I understand that people are mad about the memberships, but there's only so much money to go around. And I'd rather, if I have to choose between paying the staff or, like spreading the pain, the members are out a couple $100 max. The staff would be out thousands of dollars and not being able to pay their rent. Like, well, you know what? People can, can be mad at me for that. But I think years from now, or if they look back on when they were a kid, I made the right call. Like, it's not a great call, but it's the right call.
Well, how many options did you have, really, JR?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is people have to remember, if I took that money and I paid the from a legal perspective, and I reimbursed the members, knowing I was going out. Members are not a protected vendor.
Yeah.
My secure vendors are, and the staff are. So afterwards, when I was talking to my lawyer, he goes, I'm glad you didn't, like after the fact, he says, I'm glad you didn't pay try to reimburse your members before your staff, because, you'd be breaking the law. Like your staff come, like your secured creditors and your staff, and then your unsecured creditors, and your members are unsecured creditors. So I told you, and I'm like, well, it really wasn't a choice, in my mind, because I know if I was 25 years old, right, and I lost out, I'd be devastated. So there used to be a business next to us called the Athletes Factory, and the guy shut the doors on for the Christmas break, and then when his staff came back on January 2nd, there was a notice on the door. They didn't get their final pay, no severance, nothing at Christmas.
That's rough.
Yeah, I felt so bad for these people, right? So I'm not trying to say, oh, woe is us, but I'm just saying with the rationale is I got this one little pot. What do I do with it? And that was my reasoning.
Yeah.
So
and also
the members that are upset that they didn't get the money, okay, be mad at me, but it was my decision, and I will stand by that. You can walk up to me at another range and tell me, and that's it, right? So fine, because I'm not going, oh, woe is me. The business cycle didn't work, right? I'm not losing sleep over it. I'm resilient, and I got tough skin, and I'm, this is Calgary. Calgary's not a city of quitters, man. It's not a city of quitters. So we'll get things going. I mean, in 1 month, when we said, okay, this is not going to work, what do we got to do? We got to have a place for the members to come pick up their guns up, their locker supplies, and we have 3 months of classes that we have to honor. So we're ready. We're running our first class tomorrow. We've been working since we closed the doors. So Wednesday to Friday, we've been scrubbing and cleaning and getting a classroom ready so that we can honor these classes, because we've taken people's money for these classes for the next 3 months, right? And I don't want that to be their first entry into the shooting world, is getting screwed by where they pay to take their firearms license.
Yeah.
So it sucks. Anyway, I see Jim Bob there. Is your wife part of the Mannix family? Yeah, no. No. And original investors in the Shooting Edge, how could they help you out with a loan? No. So my wife is definitely not part of the Mannix family. And Colonel Fred Mannix lent me $76,000 when I first opened the shooting edge. He made me, because he was my honorary colonel in the Calgary Islanders, and he made me a personal loan and made me sign a personal guarantee for that money when I started the shooting edge back in 2000. So you got a little bit there, Jim Bob, but not the whole story.
One thing I did want to ask, I'd seen some comments elsewhere about it's amazing how some people think. Well, wouldn't you think it would have been a smarter idea to buy the place rather than rent for all that time? And the first thing that goes through my head is, well,
that's a good question, Rooster.
Well, it is, and I'm sure you have an answer. My contribution to it is, I wonder, those people who think that, what are their mortgages like on their homes? Why didn't they just buy the fucking thing?
Well, let's go back 25 years. So everybody thinks I'm this fucking, mega monster fucking business guy. I was a master corporal in the PPCLI. Right? So
you're right. Yeah, fucking lucrative.
I left. I took my return of contributions because I wasn't in long enough for pension. I rolled the dice and I opened the shooting edge. I built the shooting edge, and I said I borrowed $76,000 from Colonel Fred.
Right.
With my return of contributions, built the shooting edge, and we built it. We built the ranges, the entire facility we built for less than $300,000. Now that would be millions of dollars, $2 million.
Yes. Yeah.
The target retrieval systems when we first opened were garage door openers.
Yeah.
Like on cable. Like that's what we did. We hooked up a solenoid with a little button, so we could like forward and back, because
target
retrieval systems didn't exist in the market.
Right.
We were the first range with bulletproof glass between the shooters. Nobody had done it. We did it. Now everybody does it. But we're the first guys to do it. Everybody said, "Oh, it's not going to be safe. It's not good." Now everybody does it. So 25 years ago, it was a whole different, a different beast, right? And I was just a young guy, who didn't know any better. And thank God, because if I knew about business now, if I knew it back then, I wouldn't have opened a frigging gun range. I'd been better off in, just currency exchanges. But I'm glad I did it. It's been a great ride. But back then, like I said, I had enough money to either open a business or buy a building. I could do one or the other.
Yeah.
So the guy who asked that, it's like 100%. But I met with the bank today because I owe the bank a lot of money. And today was a meeting with the regional vice president for Western Canada for commercial lending. And it's like, so, how are we going to pay this back? Because when you shut a business down, you never escape the bank and you never escape the CRA. Right?
Yeah,
so it's not like I get to wash my hands and walk away from this. I still got a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And but when we were done the conversation, he's like, "So what's next? We've made lots of money from you over the years, and we believe in you still. We don't think this is your fault, right? So what's next?" I said, "Well, we'll figure this out." But the bank has, and let's look at it. If you're a bank and your insurance company still have faith in you, that means that you can do stuff.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
But if I do another range somewhere, it'll be a bought piece of property. It's not going to be with a landlord. I'll never want to do something with a landlord on that kind of scale again. Can I answer? There's a question here. Is Target Sports closing? I want to answer that.
Yes.
100% not. Different beast. I run everything as separate companies. The landlord at Target Sports is epically good. Epically good. The guy who owns the building, his family, we negotiated in our renegotiations for the lease over a bottle of scotch.
Nice.
Yeah. Epically good people. Yeah, exactly. Cheers to Bird Mechanical. The guys in Ontario who own my building.
Cheers.
They really are. They're very honorable people. So every time we have an issue or they have an issue, they call me and we deal with it. But the rent is reasonable. It's like, it's all good. Yeah. So it's
So obviously your landlord for the Shooting Edge was a little bit tumultuous. What do you think that is coming from, and do you care to elaborate on that?
greed. So the building is it's plain old fashioned greed. The building is owned by the TELUS Pension Fund. They're an $11 billion fund. And it's administered by, what was it, the Canada Pension Fund is part of it?
Canada Pension Plan.
Yeah, it's part of it. But it's a huge thing. And they're just an asset manager, right?
Yeah.
So the people who sit, they don't care. It's an asset. So part of their $10 billion fund is this 4-acre plot of land that they own. And it's an asset. So as long as the asset appreciates, they don't care. They've appointed Colliers, a commercial broker, to be their agent and to deal with all their leasing and all the property management. They're the ones we're dealing with. And you know what? I have other buildings with Colliers, and they're very good to deal with. But the person in charge of our building and our leases is a dick. Right?
He's putting it lightly.
He just is. He's a bully, and I think he gets his way. Yesterday, he was having a meeting with a different client who they didn't know. Like, he didn't know that they knew me personally, because they called me right after the meeting laughing, like, this guy has no idea who you are. Because his thing is, this is just a flex. JR is not moving anything. He's just invested in this place, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So he's not going anywhere. The place is already empty. He has no idea. He just thinks I'm trying to get, as a final move to get them to lower the rent. I already passed it in. I'm bluffing. Yeah. It's like, I don't bluff. There's no need for this. It's like, I've asked them for 3 years to deal with this, because I said, I'm going to go insolvent if you don't. And I'm insolvent. Promise made, promise kept. This is like one of the ultimate in fuck around and find out. He found out. We left. So now he has to answer to his handlers at the TELUS Pension Fund and say, you just chased out a $1 million a year client. Now we got to clean this place up. So I'd love to be a fly on the wall in those conversations when he tries to explain, what he did to me and the business,
And I'm sure lead abatement is cheap.
Pardon me?
Lead abatement is probably cheap, I'm guessing, because that place has got to be scrubbed clean.
Well, yeah. So, and that's the thing is, it was a foundry before I moved in. So who knows? And it's a straw roof, it's a straw roof with this membrane. So who knows what's in this place? It's old school. This is a 60s building, and it's leaking. And sorry.
Probably
Tonight it's
probably got asbestos. Yeah,
So-
there you go. That's one for Dave there. Yeah.
So sorry, I lost my. Anyways, it's gonna be a mess. It's gonna be a
Old school building,
because the walls,
built in the
the dividing
60s.
walls, all have miculite and asbestos in them. We've got heavy metals and lead in the bays, and I walked the landlord through today. We have a different property management company that just took over, and I'm not going to say their name because they've been really pleasant. So I don't want to name them, but they were walking through and they're like, "Holy shit, there's a lot of poured concrete in here." I go, "Yeah," and it's all contaminated. They're like, "Geez, Louise, this is going to be
the magic word."
Because they can't come in and scrub the walls and then cut them out because they got to suck up all the water. They can't go anywhere. Right? So it's like, have fun, and instead of just being accommodating and keeping us, now you can clean it up.
And that's not going to be a fun job to clean up either.
No, because you're gonna have to tent the bays, the whole. My whole facility is going to be tented, and we know because we're the only gun range that had in the country that had a liquor license.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So because we put in the axe throwing with a lounge, So we had a full kitchen and a liquor license. And because of that, we had to double up our air quality testing and our swipe testing that we already had to do, but we had to really step it up for Alberta health and safety. So we know the place was spotless because every month we were doing swipe tests. And we didn't do the swipe tests. Like a company had to come in and randomly do all these tests.
Yeah, third party.
And we always came back with, you know, the big green check mark. Like they were always like impressed with how clean we had it. So it's great. But in those bays and around the bays, it's like if you're taking them out, it's gonna be fun. So yeah.
I will say the kitchen did produce some excellent nachos.
We had the best nachos in the city, man. Like we really did. We turned out good. We actually turned out good food in that kitchen. Like we kept the menu limited, but I think it was pretty good, man.
Yeah, quality.
Because we stopped in after the Apex match, actually. We're like, oh, I'll just get some fries. I'm not that hungry. There's like a 5-gallon pail of fries.
Yeah.
It was delicious.
Well, it was good. Like my guys liked it. And to be quite honest, the most of the clients for the kitchen was the staff. Because we gave them a 40% discount on food. So it's basically like our cost.
Yeah.
And so, because it's young guys, I got all these young guys working for me, and they're blowing all their salaries going out for lunch every day. So we stock all kinds of food in there for them, basically keep them from spending all their money at McDonald's and Wendy's and all that shit.
Yeah. Another perk of the job too.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a question on there to save Steve. Yeah, Steve's going nowhere. Yeah. Like that's the thing. It's like there's going to be all kinds of shit going on. We're not going anywhere. The market's changed. How people buy, has changed. Like when you think about it, no business is too big to fail, and my business failed. Like it failed.
Yeah.
I probably a few months ago I was way more sad than I am now. Like it sucks. Like it truly sucks. But you have to come to terms with it. Like I can't, because really, I'm not defined by the shooting edge, right? Like I'm not defined by my time in the military. I'm not defined by this, right? These are parts of the whole.
Yeah.
Right. They make me who I am. But in the last 25 years of shooting edge, like holy crap, the fun we've had, like the trials and tribulations. Because we've been under attack. Because remember, you guys are too young to remember, but like right after I opened in 2000, so about 2002, when Paul Martin was running for, he was going to run to be prime minister, he declared war. He said that if he was elected, he was going to ban guns.
Yeah.
Right now, that was his platform. Like we've seen the highs and it's just been constant.
Yeah.
Right? Like, do I think Polyev is going to be the savior? I don't know.
Definitely a turn in the right direction, though.
I have a lot of respect for the man, and I've had lots of discussions with this chief of staff and things, but I'll never make a decision based on the promise from a politician.
Yeah.
Like, I never will. I know better, right? So I'm looking at some of these comments. Yeah. The Savage Fest. Come on, I loved Savage Fest. We had the tornado. We're like going like, okay, my big trailer. Okay, we're gonna. If we get in the trailer, but there's a culvert right there, so everybody get in the culvert. It's pretty good. Like I have so many great memories, and the philanthropy we did over 25 years is amazing. The money we've raised and helped raise, we're hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s, and I'm not tooting my horn. It's just like we've had fun doing it.
Yeah.
So I always said when you do a fundraiser, it should be an activity that happens to raise funds, right? Because we've all done those. We've gone to very expensive fundraisers, and you get a beef on a bun. And you paid $300, and you have to stop at McDonald's on the way home.
And some blowhard talking about shit. Yeah.
Oh, I hate that shit. So we said, okay, we're gonna do it, and then you gotta make this event happen, and then you happen to raise some money, and then those are the best events, right? So we've had tons of fun, like the Shooting Edge when we did the. I hope some people on here remember the tailgating we did at the Stampeder games. Like, holy shit, those were fun. We brought the big truck and trailer out, served up gazillions of hamburgers, and then we'd always, if you saw the Saskatchewan fans, we'd always bring them over. Like, come on, you got to love the Rough Rider fans. Like, they're diehard. If their team is on the bottom, they're a Bill Deer. If they're the top, they're just obnoxious about it. But they'll never stop supporting their team. Ever. And I respect that. Right? So, yeah. So we'd always drag them over. It's like, hey, have a burger and a beer on us. Like, you know, we'll swear in the stands, but right here, we're allies.
Right.
We're all just football fans, you know? Yeah. And so, yeah, it was good. And so we've had some great times over the years. Raised lots of money. We were crunching numbers because I'm going to lose my point of sale pretty quick. So we said, let's pull up numbers and see. And we've introduced over 1 million, almost 1.1 million unique shooters to the sport.
No kidding.
In Calgary.
Wow.
Not combined edge group. Calgary.
Right.
25 years, almost like over 1 million people. Like, that's incredible. Like,
that's half the active PAL holders.
Well, yeah, and a lot of people never came back. Like, they came in, had a great time.
Yeah.
They're never going to come back and shoot again. But they came in, they had a good time. And what we did is we made allies. Right?
Yeah.
So then they go back, and when somebody says, oh, gun owners are bad, they go, I don't know. I went to the Shooting Edge, and I had a fun time. And I didn't see any tinfoil.
Hey, there are people too.
Yeah. I didn't see any tinfoil on anybody's heads. They weren't talking about the fall of the the government. Pretty safe. You know, we got a safety brief, and there was people there, and yeah, I had a good time. I don't know, like they're okay. Like but that for me is what helps save the sport because they're
that's
just
a
on
win.
the fence. Yeah, because we glue them to the fence. I always tell the staff, 20% of people hate guns, 20% love guns, and 60% don't give a shit about guns.
Right.
That's pretty accurate.
But that's how it is on most things. There's 20 on both ends and then 60 in the middle. And so we need to take that 60%. We need to glue them to the fence. So they've had a great experience. So when the negative Nellies go, oh, guns are bad, they go, yeah, I don't know. And they go, we want to take all the guns and it's going to cost billions of dollars. So they go, I don't know. Like I don't think I want to spend the equivalent of a new hospital taking their hunting rifles away. They weren't bad.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so we glue them to the fence. We make allies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we keep the Wendy Couquiers from winning.
Yeah.
We just keep taking more and more people to the range, more and more experiences. You know,
more and more PAL courses. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I got this. I want to say, people in this country, most shooters don't know the name Ken Couch. Ken owns Wild West Range in Edmonton. And he used to have the range down. It was down actually in downtown Edmonton. And he was the first guy to do commercial familiarization walk-in shooters in the country. He was the first guy. Everybody, the CFOs didn't want him to do it. He's the first guy who did it. So I will not take credit for that. Ken started doing it. Now I think we weaponized it, but Ken broke the mold, and then he opened it up, the range up in the mall again.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody thought he could do it, and he did it. And he started running people through his ranges there, and started introducing people to the shooting sports in a safe manner. And so I think people in this country in the shooting sports, they need to know the name Ken Couch. You know, in the CSAAA, they do their legends in industry. Mm-hmm. The first person that comes to mind to me is Ken. And people really need to know that. When I was going to open the Shooting Edge, like a quarter century ago, And I started calling around to talk to gun stores that I frequented. Ken was the only guy that was honest with me. Right? They really were the only guy. Ken was like, this is how the system works. This is how the industry works. This is where you get stuff from. He's like, don't open a range next to me. But he opened it. He opened his soft underbelly and showed me how the industry worked.
Yeah.
And there's other people in the industry who bullshit and lied to me. Right? And some of these are major players in the industry, and they bullshit and lied to me. Ken never did. And I think because of Ken, I was able to open the shooting edge in Calgary, and we were able to be so successful because he was honest and open and mentored me. Right? And so I think I'm glad I give him a shout out, because I wouldn't have what I have without Ken's honesty and his friendship.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think that the shooters in Canada need to know that. Like, they need to know how all these commercial ranges that operate because he broke the mold. He said when the CFOs were saying you can't do it, he said, well, the law doesn't say anything. Too bad. So yeah, that's my little. That's
do you
Wild West in West Hampton Mall.
Mm.
I definitely we had a training course in Edmonton one time, and we had people from all across the country showed up, Ontario, BC. And they're like, "Oh, what do we do? We're in Edmonton." I'm like, "Let's go to West Ed Mall." I'm like, "Okay, what do you want to do? We go see the submarines that the Canadian Navy has less of?" "Oh no, let's go to the gun range in the mall." And they were just amazed.
Yeah,
that like, you guys have a gun range in the mall? Yeah, so
in the mall.
So me and the guy from Red Deer took all the Ontario people, BC people. We took them all to Wild West, and it was a good time.
Yeah. So I think I'm really glad, like, over the years, like, there's been all kinds of things. Like when I bought Target Sports in Toronto in 2010, I mean, the CFO is as belligerent now as they were then. And I was like, okay, we got to do this and this, and I want to put these bays in. And they had bays in there about 1.5 meters wide. And I said, well, they're too wide. I said, I can't make money at 2 meters wide, or 1.5 meters wide. I'm making them 1 meter wide. And I'm going to put bulletproof glass. I'm replicating the ranges in Calgary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, you can't do that. And I'm like, well, why not? It's unsafe. I'm like, how? Like,
explain to me.
Unsafe. Can you tell me how? Well, it's just unsafe. Well, that doesn't really answer the question. You can't answer the question.
That's simply because.
Yes.
Yeah.
Show me the long division on your statement.
And then they were like, well, because we said so. I said, well, okay, that's nice. So I put the stalls in. I built it. Then they came in to do their inspection. And I'm like, they're like, you can't do that. I go, well, I did. And it's legal.
Mm-hmm.
And it meets every safety standard, because the Olympic standard is 1 meter. So because it's not a police range, of 1.5 meters, it doesn't have to be. And I said mine's safer because when you're at 1 meter, like you're going like left and right, it's better than when you give somebody like all the space to spin around. They're limited.
Right.
So I'm like, this is actually safer. Plus with the bulletproof glass, in there I put level 4 in. Mm-hmm. So it literally is like 2 inches thick. It's rated for, like, I think it was back then, it was like 762 by 39, 308. Like, basically, if somebody turns sideways and pulls the trigger, the worst thing that happens is you pee your pants. Nobody's getting shot, and there's no spall, and there's no ricochet, but you're replacing a $2,000 piece of glass.
There's also the visibility factor too, that you can't see through walls.
That's exactly it. One range officer can look down and see what everybody's doing with their hands and with their guns. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Yeah. So I'm a big believer in ballistic glass between shooters.
Just to go backwards here a little bit, Jimmy chimes in. Obviously, Target Sports, Sterling, obviously still running. Again, they're separate entities. It seems that we lost Mike here. So with the PAL courses and is obviously it said 3 months. Is there kind of a goal to continue that?
Yeah. I'm not gonna get into it. Like, I mean, the plan is right now. Like, I got to lick my wounds.
Yeah.
We've taken a lease in a place. We built a classroom. In fact, I was just there till half hour before the show tonight, we had to get the projector, working properly, the classroom done, cleaned up, coffee station, get all that ready to welcome our first students tomorrow. And it can't be a piece of shit classroom. We have standards. Because they went to the shooting edge and signed up at the shooting edge, where we have excellent facilities. So that's what they've paid for. So we can't take them and throw them in some church basement now, and make them feel comfortable and happy for spending that money. Especially if down the road I want them to come back and frequent my whatever I do next. Right. So we have to give them the experience that they were expecting to pay for. Yeah. Right. And so that's the thing. So that's what we got that. And so Sterling's fine, because they're all separate companies. I run them separately, and in some ways they've been competing against each other. So one of the criticisms I've seen online is that, they see that I've taken all the money from the shooting edge over to Sterling Arms. It's like, if you only knew, and now they do. I'm being very transparent. I've taken hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars from Sterling and Target Sports to keep the shooting edge alive, not the other way around. Yeah. Right? So I feel bad. The staff and everything at Target Sports, they've been starved of inventory and all kinds of opportunities because of the shooting edge. And so my hope, I just signed a contract this week for Target Sports so they can get new target retrieval systems next year, because it takes about 6 to 8 months to get new target retrieval systems. Yeah. But it's $300,000 US. Oh, wow. The problem is when you go to deal with anything in shooting ranges, it's not small numbers. Oh yeah. It's bone crushingly expensive numbers to run a shooting range. In Calgary, we were spending on average $8,000 a month on filters. Oh wow. Well, you got to filter the air coming in, and then more importantly, you got to filter the air going out. Yeah. Right. So technically, there's very little laws about about the air we kick out, on what level we got to clean it to. But I got to breathe that air. Day in, day out. So for me, it's pretty important that we, throw it out at clean, right? Yeah.
And also, I don't know if anybody's actually wandered back. I had the privilege of Phoenix here in Edmonton just got a new air handling system, and to look at one of those in person it's quite impressive. It's not a small thing. If you ever been in the background guts of a shooting range, that's not small equipment moving all that air.
Yeah. The average cost for a bay, one bay for a shooting bay, is about $250,000 for an HVAC. You got to budget about $250,000, and then you got to budget for between $6,000 and $10,000 a month for filters. And then you got maintenance, because remember, you got little explosions going off and little steel, copper, lead devices that want to beat the shit out of everything. So you're constantly fixing baffles and welding and cleaning and painting and demining. It's constant, and that it's okay. It's not always me. That's what we do. But it's funny that when you look at that's why if anybody bitches at their volunteer clubs on the work, the fact that after decades they're running, if you don't buy the work parties at those clubs a beer whenever you have a chance, you are a horrible human being. You are a douchebag, because it's one thing for a commercial range. I pay people to do that. We keep up on the maintenance. We do all this stuff. But so many the private ranges, holy crap! Or the pub, the clubs, and this is all volunteer. I know how much money I spend and how much time we spend keeping it up. If it's a volunteer club, the few that take it up and do it, there's a special place in heaven for those people. because they're doing God's work for so many people that don't give a shit and don't volunteer and don't help out.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I look at the ranges here, the Milo range and the APRA, like the BTSA range, and I look at all the things that have happened over the decades and all the work and the love, just the pure love for the sport. It's like those people are doing work of God, man. Like they really are, and they deserve a shout out. Like they do. Like the guys who run the Steel Challenges, the IPSC matches, and the Annie Oakleys, and all these things, they really, are awesome, and they do that. Yeah, Scott Telford, I'm sorry, it's not going to happen. I get it. You're upset, right? But there's only so much money to go around, and it's either refund the members or pay the staff. And I'm sorry, but I paid the staff. That's the reality. And I know you're going to be mad at me, and you can come punch me in the face when you see me at the range next time. But I'm sorry. I'm just clear about this. The pot was small, and those are my choices.
Mm-hmm. Well, you make your choice and you live with it, right? And it's
I don't live with it. I can sleep well knowing that I made sure the staff were looked after.
Given another choice, I don't think you would have been in this situation at all.
Well, I didn't want to shut down. Like I'm walking away. Like
No.
when I look at say I'm walking away from $500,000 that I've put in the last year and a half. Right?
In the last year and a half.
I don't have a pension now. I don't have any RSPs. Right? I don't have any investments. So I'm sorry. The $200, $300, $400 that each individually members are out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm empathetic, but I'm not doing. I can't do anything about it. Like there's just nothing I can do.
Also, we talked about obviously rent going up a lot, but also just sources of income in general. We had obviously the handgun ban, and obviously we had the OIC. So talk about those kind of factors in, the profitability of a firearms business.
Well, so if I get back, you go back to like 2020. So, we got kicked in the ass with COVID, 2019 into 2020. And then we all woke up that morning in 2020, watched the press release, of the grandstanding of Trudeau saying, as effective midnight last night, all these rifles are banned. And here's what it is.
Suck it.
Yeah. I mean, from me, we're like shit. So we got to pull all these guns off the line. And then from a sterling perspective, we had like 500, 102 receivers and rifles ready to go the door, like dealer sales, So we had all those rifles built. We had all the TSRs. We had so many things ready to go. Stopped, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it was a big kick. It was a big kick, especially because there was no notice. Then we come into 20. So we lost, like I said, over $1 million. Boom, done. And then, but we didn't lose a lot of members because it was rifles. So the membership was pretty stable. But then we got to 2022. Now all of a sudden, with the handgun ban, we got to sell most of the handguns because we got a 2 months notice or 6 weeks, 6 weeks notice. We sold the handguns, great. So everybody said, "Oh yeah, you're all rich." No, because we can't replace this. The only good thing is we're not stuck with inventory like we did in 2020. So the guns all go to the door, and then there's nothing, right? So all we did was we paid the bills. So we paid the bills off. So so we did an extra $200,000 in handgun sales. Well, that's only $40,000 in profit, right? And just 20% generally back then, like 20% profit on handguns, because there's a lot of competition. So you generally make between 18 and 20%, and so that's where we're at. And then as you jump forward, now we don't have any new members. So with no new handgun sales, you don't need new members.
Yeah.
And the problem is, I said, every club, no matter what kind of club it is, could be a kung fu club, it could be a fencing club, it could be a badminton club. You atrophy between 15 and 30% of your members a year. That doesn't matter what kind of club it is. It could be how good you are. Oh yeah, that's a great quote, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Donald LeBlanc.
Mhm.
Not only that, but if everyone comes and pays with a credit card, you're taking a 3% hit on for transaction fees.
Yeah,
too.
but that's just business. Like, like I don't get it. You got to factor that in and know that. But when you think about it, though, when you look at memberships, because in Calgary, there's, according to the Firearms Center, there's 93,000 handgun owners in this city.
Holy cow.
93,000, right? So that's a lot of handgun owners. I only have now like less than 600 members. The shooting center, before I shut down, maybe the same. Like I can't see them having more. Straight shooters, no more than the same. So let's just say we tripled. So it's 1,800. So there's maybe 2,000. Let's say there's 2,000 members at the indoor shooting ranges, and that's very generous. You got out of 93,000 handgun owners, you got 2,000 as members, right? Like, yes, we failed, and I'm not blaming the handgun owners, but unlike like golf courses, which have multi-year waiting periods, like if the ranges were packed with these members, we wouldn't have a problem.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Toronto, I got over 2,000 members in Toronto, and we have more new members rolling in every day at Target Sports, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're still going growth, but it's good. We're losing some members. We're slow intake, so there's kind of steady state, which is good. And at Target, we really limited the number. We used to do a lot more walk-ins, but we put a point of sale system in, a new one, which allows us to have people book their members, more walk-ins. Sorry,
Yeah.
And it's allowed us then to limit and plan for the walk-ins. So it's been great because we take less bays, because it used to be that you get like 30 people show up at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. So you'd end up taking almost a full bay for walk-ins. And then they'd all leave and you'd have nobody. But the members are done, so you'd have an empty bay. So by being able to have people book, right, when they come in, they can say, oh, this time's change, this time's full. So they'll change when they come. And then I only need like 4 lanes out of 23 to do my walk-ins. We still get the walk-ins through, but I got 4 lanes for them. So the members now have 18 lanes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, before they'd only get 12 lanes. So it's actually worked out really well. So we still get the walk-ins. So we still grow the sport. But we're able to get them into less space. So it's way more effective. And I think that's been extremely helpful. So the membership, I think, in Toronto are way far happier. Because I really want to make sure that the members in Toronto are happy. I want to make sure the members in Calgary are happy too, but I'm that's a mute. So I'm saying here, is there any difference between rules or indoor ranges in Ontario and Alberta? The rules in Ontario, if you think draconian and nasty and elitism, that's Ontario. The Ontario CFO, their office is punitive and draconian. They and I've told this to their face. It's not like I'm like all nice and pie with the Ontario CFO's office, and then I'm saying this. I've had lots of run-ins with them over the years, and it's run by the OPP. And it's not that OPP are bad. I got there's not like law enforcement is defund the police. No, I'm a very fond believer of law enforcement. When I need them, I want them there now.
Yeah.
Right.
But organizationally, there's an attitude about firearms owners and police agencies. Right? It's intrinsic. It's it exists. So in Ontario, because the CFO's office is run by the OPP, and it's based out in Orillia, which is in Alberta terms, butt fuck nowhere, right? So you're drawing your employees, except for the OPP officers. You think about it, the people that work in that office, when you're looking at your employment pool, it's not like it's in Toronto, where you have 8 million people to choose from. You're not really at. So I would say, like some of the people that I've had to deal with in a big city, they would be working at Sobeys at a register, but now they're in charge of my file.
Right.
So we've seen all kinds of issues like that in Ontario, right? So the Ontario CFO's office is a difficult beast to deal with. Our inspector, we're lucky for Target Sports, the guy in our area, is epically good. He comes through, he's reasonable, he's communicative, but his boss, she's a nasty piece of work. And I won't say her name on here because I don't want her to dox her, but she's a nasty piece of work. So we're lucky that we've got a great inspector at Target, because otherwise we'd be screwed, right? Because he's reasonable, like he's honest. Like we don't get any buys. It's like this is the rules, this is everything. But in Alberta, we wouldn't have that. I mean, the Alberta CFO's office has been transformative for I think businesses and the owners. Like people don't understand how good we have it in Alberta. So when you call the CFO's office, I apologize for our fucked up CFO out there.
Apology accepted, Dan.
I feel your pain, man, and I'm there with you. Power to the people.
Yeah.
The problem in Ontario is they change the CFO every 2 years. They're only there long enough. So what happens? I'll just go back to Ontario for a second. Is the CFO's office, like the CFO? So in the OPP, I think your pension is based on your best 2 years. So the CFO's office is a stepping stone for a big pension, right? Because you go from being a staff sergeant where you look after like 20 people, so you get your pension is X. But if you get promoted, the next step is the superintendent, which is what the CFO's position is. If you ride your time out there and you retire, your pension is a superintendent, and now you're getting 20 to 30 grand a year more per year in your pension. Or they say, "Oh, you're doing a great job. You're a true dick to the public. We're gonna move you on to something better, right?" And then you move something higher. So it's either you go there and then pension out.
How to move up in government,
or you move up because you're a dick and you move up somewhere. And that's what it's like in Ontario. So. There's been some, every time we would get a CFO that I'm like, man, this guy gets us. He's good. He's understanding. Boom, gone. Like 6 months later, out of there. Like they're
not enough dick. Get out.
So that's the problem. Oh,
I wonder if they're still bitter about the FAL deal that happened back in the day.
My wife just came in. Give me a kiss. So, yeah, one of the posters here wrote her separately and said, "Go down and give him a kiss." Kiss giving.
Right back from visiting with her ultra rich billionaire family, right?
Exactly. I wish I had that money.
Yeah.
I'm trying to read things. That one Alberta NDT or Abnett, however you spell that. I'd love to have that conversation about my ATC instructor, but having one arm. My email, if you got the thing, is like jr@theedgegroup.ca. Send me an email. If you're in Ontario, I'll have beers with you when I come out to be a Target. But or if you're in Alberta, because if you're an AB Alberta guy, have a beer with you here. If anybody on here is upset with me, when we public address, if you want to come in and have a conversation, I'm not afraid of the tough conversations, people. don't keyboard warrior yourself to death. Come in and talk to me, right? Because I look at this, the people that hate my guts online, you've never met me. You've never come and had a conversation. And I'm willing to have those conversations.
Well,
We don't have, right? We don't have to agree.
To have that face to face.
Yeah, we don't have to agree. We can agree to disagree. Right. But I'm willing to hear you out. And if I'm wrong, I will admit it, and I will tell you. Like my wife and I, we have arguments all the time, and we always say like cite your source. Like no, because because it's like we're not allowed to make bold statements about something and try to present it as fact. It's like if that's gonna be fact, right? Then you should be able to back it up as fact. If you're saying that's your opinion, you're allowed to have your opinion, but don't say it's fact if it's just opinion.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. That's getting more muddy all the time.
We got Chris piping in here. Obviously, he says he understands. That being said, it seems reasonable to ask that someone could please pick up the phone or return phone calls, voicemails, or reply to emails directed to the temp.
Yeah, Chris, I'm on that tomorrow. Chris, honestly, Chris, that's on me. All the voicemails and the emails have come to me. We have been going. It's been insane. Like, because we've been trying to unpack, get the member stuff all laid out, get the classroom set up, and we finished at 6:00 tonight. It's 4 tomorrow morning.
Mm-hmm.
And then my job tomorrow. I came home and I told my wife. I told Tara. I said I got to get on the emails. Like I got to return these calls and emails because people get pissed off. But that's Chris. It's all on me. But I'm down to a staff of 4 from 26. Like it's all on me. And tomorrow I will get back to you everybody because we're going to send an email Sunday night with the address so people can come get their stuff or start getting their stuff. And
I can't imagine what you've been doing with your time.
And most people are respectful about that.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to say, it's not on anybody else. It's on me, and I will get back to you, Chris, because I'm going to call everybody. Everybody who's left a voicemail, I will call people back. Yeah, thanks, Chris. Because they deserve that. Like people deserve to be heard, and for me to explain to them what's going on. But I just haven't had a chance. I keep looking at this. It's almost overwhelming. It's like we got to get the classroom ready. Because we when you lease a space in a week, they do a commercial lease in a week. You don't really get the space you want. You get the space you get.
Mm-hmm.
So we've been and I can't tell my staff what's going on. So it's been getting some contractors I know, getting them to work on it, and then Tara and I going in at night. So leaving the office, going and working on stuff, and just trying to get because we had to build a safe room. We had to get everything done so we could get our business license. So it's been a lot of long days in September, and then and it's not Chris's fault. It's just not an excuse to any of these guys out there. So we got to do this. But anyway, so I'll get back to everybody. And then and we're going to put out the address because we wanted to maybe get to the weekend, but we had to get the classroom ready, and then we don't want people coming in on the weekend because we're not ready for them.
Yeah.
So we got to get the classroom ready. We got done tonight. Then Saturday, Sunday is the class. Monday we can lay out the area so then people can come in starting Tuesday morning. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate the offer. And then come Tuesday morning, from Tuesday to Saturday for the next 3 weeks, we'll be there to be able to hand people their stuff back.
Yeah.
We would have loved to 12 people in advance, but then again, if I told us the members in advance we're closing down, and one of them works for the Royal Bank, then again, or works for Colliers, then we're screwed. Like I had to dance down that head of that pin.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a tough call, but I think it's the right one. I've had some hate because we've cut people's locks and moved their stuff, but I had 5 people watch and film the emptying of members' lockers. So it's like
Probably a smart idea.
if anybody comes in and says I had more in my locker, I will look at them in the face and go, no, you may think you did, but you did not.
Yeah.
Like,
Miraculously, this is all we found in your locker.
I had 2 lawyers and 3 people watch the cutting, the filling of the bags or the boxes, the sealing, and 3 people signed it. It's like, I said, oh yeah. It's like, I was
2
like,
lawyers. Ugh.
yeah.
That's
I was
commitment.
Well, because I want to, they're both members, but they're
Yeah.
different. They don't know each other. Because if somebody says that, I want because they'll be able to stand there and say, yeah. No. Like, you may have thought you had more there, but you didn't.
Yeah.
And we put video and photos of everything. Because people think
one-
different things.
One AB chimes in. He wants his cannon.
Yeah.
Which cannon? 37 mil, 40 mil? You know, there's a lot of cannons out there.
10-pounder, 8-pounder. You know, you got to
It's
be more
okay.
specific. He found 2 actually.
We popped up in one locker and it had 6 handguns in it.
Holy cow!
Like, they didn't break any laws. Like, honestly, because
No. That's
these for storage. But the one thing we tell people they can't put in their lockers is guns. A 155. The locker wouldn't hold the shell. So anyway, so I'm waiting for that. I'm waiting for that member to come in, so we can have a little chat about the storage of firearms, right?
Yes.
But still, we really tried to be as methodical as possible. Like, we moved the guns from the vault, all the stored guns. Like, it's just, I said, okay, like, I'm an Army guy. So I said, I'm going to treat this like a military operation. So I wrote out a warning order, an execution. We briefed everybody. People had specific jobs. Like, your job is to stand at the vault. Your job is to stand at the trailer. It's like, well, no, you don't have another job. Nobody pulls you away from this job. You're standing at the trailer. The guns are going to come in. You're going to stand at the trailer and watch those guns. You're going to close it. You're going to hold the keys to that trailer. You're going to drive over with them. You're going to unlock that trailer and stand there. The guy who was in the vault before is back at the vault in the new place. These people will move the guns through. Like, it's like this is how it will happen. You will not deviate. You will not decide to change roles or jobs. Like, very precise. It's like, that's it. Because that way we have, this custody throughout, because we have a responsibility to do this.
Yeah.
Right? And then also too is somebody says they're missing something. Well, then it wasn't here. Because the people I put in charge of those tasks are people I trust.
Right.
And there's a built-in redundancy on every step. So it wasn't just one person. Right.
Yeah. Multi-factor security. What are some of the frequently asked questions you've been getting?
I think a lot of it is things like memberships, gift cards. Like, people want about gift cards. And the problem is right now is I don't own anything. The bank owns everything. When we took all the bank and the CRA are owed more than what I have in inventory. So we had to pack everything onto pallets. We had to take it over to a storage facility and lock it up. So it has to be secured.
Yeah.
If the bank says, we can come to accommodations and I can take that and sell it, and I have the ability to do something with it, I'm happy to help my members and gift cards. But until then, no, because they're unsecured.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know over the years how many restaurants gift cards I've been given, and the restaurant goes down and that's it. Like, going, oh damn, I should have used that.
Yeah.
Right. It sucks. It bloody well sucks, and I get it because I'm a consumer too. I spend money. I'm not a billionaire. I'm not a millionaire, right? So I get it when something happens, but right now I'm just saying I can't. Like, legally I can't, and just monetarily, there's nothing to spare, right? Like, You know, I shut the shooting range down because there was nothing left to take.
Yeah.
You know, like, yeah. And again, it's not always me. It's just that's the reality.
Yeah.
Like, if there's anger, it should be directed towards our government that put you in this position, I would argue, in the first place.
Yeah, I agree. I've had numerous. Yeah, you know what sucks? That's a good one.
Yeah.
You know, dude, I want to meet you sometime.
Yes. One AB's a great fan.
Great friend of the show.
Yeah, great friend of the show.
Yeah. Hey, one AB, where do you live? Are you in Calgary? Come
He's
on,
in
it's
Ontario, I believe.
Funny.
I think he's
No.
Ontario, but we don't hold that against him.
We'll just speak
Not at all.
slowly. All right. Fine.
Either way, wherever he is.
So send me an email when I'm out visiting Toronto, like Target Sports. We can have a beer. No?
Yeah.
He was in Toronto and didn't visit us at TACOM. What the hell?
Oh, Taco was awesome, man. It was fun hanging out with you guys.
TACOM was a blast.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Because it was so small. You remember? Okay, well, that'll be good. So Target Sports Calgary, Canada is not going anywhere. Your membership is safe. It's all good, man. It's and just let me know. Like I said, at Target Sports, we've signed a contract for new target retrieval systems. That's the minimum, and I'm going to give them some more inventory. And so I can really support them because I'm not going to steal from them. Like, I've been taking all of their money.
Mm-hmm.
Right? No, Igor was my instructor. Igor's a good guy, man. I'm blessed. Like, I have had in all my companies, I have great teams.
Mm-hmm.
So Julie runs Target Sports for me in Toronto. I hired her, and she was just left a really stressful job, and I hired her as my admin. She, to do admin. But I looked at her CV, and Target Sports Canada is online. They finally have a point of sale system that's good for that. So, do that.
Mm-hmm.
And they should be more and more stuff should go online. Like if it's not online now, it's on them. It's not on me anymore. They had the worst website for years and years and years. Anyway, I can't remember what I was ranting about, so it's okay. Got me off track. Squirrel.
That's okay.
We have a real question here for you, JR.
It was the worst. I agree with you 100%. Favorite spot? Oh, man. Okay. I'm going to take you on a little tour. Okay. Let's go here because I can't really tell you what my favorite scotch is. Am I cutting out? This is my drinking room.
Hello, darling.
Okay.
Holy cow.
That's the gins. And then we get more into bourbons and tequilas. And then we get into the scotches and whiskeys. And all these are my dad's. My dad used to collect. He didn't drink, but he collected these cool bottles from the 60s and 70s.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Elvis.
it's just bonkers stuff. So anyway, so when you say that best scotches, it's like I really can't tell you. It's like depends on what I feel like that. Do I want a single malt?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want a bourbon? Do I want a peaty? Not peaty? Do I want what do I want? So yeah.
My cousin Skylar would be very envious of that collection.
There you go. Yeah. Okay.
I can't find the
Well,
comment.
JR, what's next? Do you figure? Have you thought that far ahead? Oh, geez.
Well, I see.
Is that my internet or your guys?
Well, that's the problem. I don't want to say too much.
That's your internet.
I would. Am I cutting out?
No, you're good.
fine.
Rooster's on peasant internet.
Yeah.
No, I am.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
There's more coming down. I mean, with Sterling, got the 2 rifles coming out, and I'm excited for those. I'm excited for a couple of new rifles for the Canadian market, and then because we're working on the new ones for 2025. So we got the R18 Mark III, we got the the R9, but then we got the R20 coming out in 2025,
Nice.
which is our 308, and again heavily extrusion, and it's really going to be, I'm really excited with that. But again, guns take a long time to get to market.
Yeah.
And anybody who thinks it's an easy and fast process has never done it. The perfect example is we couldn't get the original R18 to work properly. So we actually made a change in our bolt carrier interface by 1 thou. So basically the width of a piece of paper.
Less.
Yeah.
Like a piece of paper is like 4 thou, 5 thou.
The gun went from not being reliable to shooting every time. Those are the kind of changes you've got to make.
Yeah.
To make it work well. So it's not easy making a firearm. And when you get it was easy for HK to come with all kinds of cool shit when they were getting millions of dollars from the German government. It's easy for Canada to come up with all kinds of cool shit when it was Damaco, when they're getting millions of dollars from the Canadian government. It's easy for FN to come up with cool shit because they're getting millions of dollars from the U.S. government.
Yeah.
For R&D. In Canada, unless you're part of the Defense Act, you get fuck all from anybody for development. But nothing. Right? So my R&D I pay for, and then when I get a gun out there, but because I'm a shooter, right? I like to shoot. I like to get out there and compete. I want to give us a cool gun.
Yeah.
And not a gun that's good for Canada, but just a good gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, where I get the parts from, I don't fucking care. I just want a gun that works and that I can sell for a reasonable price. So I'm excited about the rest of 2024. I'm excited about 2025. So I think it's going to be pretty good. Right.
Yeah. So just to kind of reinforce some things, like obviously you had the shooting edge and target sports. What are the big dividers on why one worked and why one did it, just to really hammer home the previous points?
The rent.
Yeah.
My rent in Toronto is $32,000 a month. My rent in Calgary is $95,000 a month.
1/3.
Yeah.
That's borderline criminal.
And my landlord in Toronto is reasonable. My landlord in Calgary is a douchebag.
Mm-hmm.
When you think about it, but also too is Toronto, my Toronto locations, it's not in the city. It's in Gormley.
Mm-hmm.
Which to everybody who's not from Ontario is between 2 major centers, right in the middle, about 25 minutes from the airport. So it's outside of city, Toronto proper, but in the general area.
Yeah.
So from the airport, it's about 25-minute, 30-minute drive. So it's easy to get to. But in Toronto, there's 8.2 million people. Yeah, York region. Yeah, 8.2 million people. Calgary, there's 1.2 million people. Mm-hmm. So in Toronto, there's only 3 commercial ranges. In Calgary, of 1.2, there's 3 commercial ranges. Or now there's 2.
Right.
There's now 2.
Right. So, look at that market distribution.
Right. So the thing is, in Toronto, we are getting new members every day coming in. We still are getting new members because there's such a waiting list for old members, right? That and old clubs that they're coming to us, and bless their heart, that's why we try to give them a good experience. So when I get a 1-star review, I get all that stuff. I'm like, holy crap! I really take it to heart if people give us a 1-star review, like I screenshot it, send it to my GM and say, hey, look into this. I want to know the story. I'm not going to instantly believe that we did something wrong, but I want to know the story. Like, did we do something wrong? And if we did something wrong, we got to own it. But if we didn't, and to be quite honest, 90% of the 1-star reviews we get are because somebody did something stupid. They got caught. They got called out. They're embarrassed. And then they got to go home and put a 1-star review because somebody was mean.
Their ego is hurt. Yeah.
Their ego is hurt. Like, one guy started making like I said, like, you stop posting because I'm going to ban you, because the reason you're on here is because you brought guests. They were unsafe. After the third time they shot the baffle, my guy went and told them to stop it and told you to watch them. You got all butthurt. And somehow we're the bad guy? Like, honestly, why did you post here? Like, my guys didn't complain about you. But if you're going to call them out and call us a bunch of names, like, you're the one who's unsafe, you asshat.
Like, these are not toys. Like, you are adults.
Yeah. Like, so it's funny. Like, it's very different between Toronto and Calgary. Like, as far as the okay, I'll explain all this stuff. Yeah, the Calgary farmers market. It's the most expensive market in the world, but they're getting hosed too. Yeah. Oh, so the staff. Can you comment on what the staff are doing? We tried to push as many of the staff as we could to other jobs, but because we couldn't tell them, we really couldn't, like, prep them. But
that's a hard line.
But remember, because we told them it was sold, and we didn't, they hadn't met the owners. And I said I didn't know how it was going to be. I could bring them in and talk to them and say, listen, you may not like the new owners. What's your plan B? And they go, well, what do you mean? I go, well, 1 week into here and you hate it here. What's your plan B? Like, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? What's your life aspiration? Because let's face it, being a range officer at 25 years old is not a career path. Right? But it's a great job, but it's not like being an electrician. Right? So what's your career path? Like, do you want to go on being sheriffs, corrections, police, plumber, heavy duty mechanic? Like, what do you want to do? So I tried to get through as many of the staff as that. Okay, Deb Malone, she asked, we'll get into that, but she's asked a couple of times about the buyback. Okay, we still have the firearms. We transfer them to the new location. And because if we're holding firearms, we're still holding them in trust. There's no change. If the buyback happens for the businesses and we can sell that firearm for you, Deb, then you'll get your money. Like, we'll sell it back, you'll get it, and we'll deal with it. So there's no change. Like, everything is gone. Like, part of the agreement with the Chief Arms Office in Alberta is this new business would absorb. We make sure we take over all of the accounts for the firearms, the trust firearms, everything. So that way, again, the shooting community is not screwed over. Oh, so Jim, yeah, you saw a kimono in there. I got that from my mom collects dolls, and I got that from her back in the, like, she got that as a gift the year I was born in '67, and it's in my office. So
nice.
And so the staff. So we tried to get this on the R18. Remember, the R18 was always through Sterling, and we have probably about 20 dealers. It was never distributed through the Shooting Edge. The Shooting Edge was a premier dealer, but I got to say, it's like, and this is like, so the Shooting Edge held a sale, included the Sterling Mark II in that sale, and I didn't know. And one of my dealers from a Sterling dealers called me up and said, "Hey, what the hell's going on here? Like, you're marking down the Mark II." So I had to go to Steve and go, like, "Listen, you do that again, you get no more Mark IIs." He's like, "What?" I go, "You're not going to fuck over my 19 other dealers." Right. Like, you drop the price. Yeah. I don't care that I own you. You lose that line. And he's like, "Oh shit! Oops." You know, like he didn't really realize like that, so he never did it again because it was one of those things. But you know, like the Sterling again, these guys compete against each other, and that's the only way.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that lesson. So Mr. Luque, the guy who owns SIG, Swiss Arms, Blaser, Mauser, Sauer, Hammerly, he like him and his partner, they own all of that, right? And then we're talking SIG USA, SIG Europe, like they're billionaires. But he says these companies all have to compete against each other. Like he doesn't say, oh well, he's like you're running a deficit, I'm going to pull you guys all together. It's like no, if a business doesn't work, if they can't make it work, they're screwed, right? So they gotta work hard for this, right? You're welcome, Dad, and I hope we can accommodate you with the buyback.
And it's not like SIG USA is really batting out of the park. I mean, they've had firearms that have had fairly public failures and basically beta tested on the public too.
Oh come on, the SIG Cross rifle, like Canadians that go, oh, Canadian companies beta test on their clients. People are getting SIG Cross rifles that the serial numbers were in like the low dozens. Like they didn't do any testing. They just said, "Oh, it's a bolt action rifle. Wow, what can go wrong?" You know, they ship them out.
Lots.
Yeah, lots.
The SIG Cross fires. SIG Cross fired when you close the bolt. The P320, if you drop it, it will go off. The P365, the firing pin is dragging on the primers as it extracts. Like,
yeah.
And this is a multi-billion-dollar company, I would argue.
Exactly. And that's the thing is, so when I go over to CGN and people are hacking on me because we it's like you can't win. Like they're pissed off because we gave some pre-production guns out to look at, and but then they're pissed off if companies beta test. It's like, well, like what do you want? What do you want people to do? Like,
right.
Like it's like nothing will make you happy. Like, go back to your mom's basement and eat some pizza pops, you guys. Like,
they have such fulfilling lives, these people, man.
Yeah, I get it. But the problem is, or the issue is that the Canadian manufacturing have jaded their client base.
Yeah.
Right? And because they've been beta tested on, so they're getting pickier and they're pissed off.
Yeah.
And I get it because I bought these guns. I mean, I've brought in other guns from Europe that were supposed to be good. Like I brought in Grand Powers. I brought in 100 Grand Power pistols, the K100s or whatever that, and they almost all failed. Oh yeah, spectacular fails. And they were supposed to have a 100,000 round warranty. And they go, oh, we must have got a bad steel shipment, blah blah blah. Okay, well, we'll credit you on your next order. I'm like, next order?
I'm not ordering anymore.
I'm like, you need to send me 100 replacement pistols.
What about this order?
I've taken 100 pistols back on warranty, so you need to replace them. Well, no, we're not doing that. I go, you have a 100,000 round warranty on your pistols.
Right.
Yeah, so?
There's a however.
They failed. they failed. Give us some new guns. No. Well, you put another order in and we'll ship with a new order. No. I need 100 guns to replace the guns that failed. And then when those don't fail, I'm happy to buy more. But, so that's when we were like, yeah, we're no longer going to buy Grand Power. So when the Grand Power distributor in Canada, and he was a great guy, came and said, hey, we carry Grand Power. I'm like, absolutely not. Like I'm out 50,000 euros because I had to reimburse everybody for those stupid pistols that failed. Like no, thank you. No, thank you.
Also, isn't there Sterling Mark IIs with like 65,000 rounds on them?
The range in Langley got 65,000 rounds. Shooting Edge, we had 45 and 48,000 through. Target Sports still have guns on the line that have over 50,000 rounds. Like we've never broken a gas part. Like they're heavy, they're kind of clunky, but man, they work. They're like that. What was that Russian? That little Russian car that never failed.
The Lada.
Oh, the Neva.
Lada.
No, the Lada definitely failed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Guys up in Inuvik, man, they swore by the Lada because you could fix it with some baling twine and something dented.
Yes.
Like,
Because that's what
it
they were
made great, but
built
you could fix it with anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing is, so the Mark II worked. Like, it just worked, right? It's still working, but it was expensive, and it was expensive to build, and we knew we could do better because aesthetically, it was pretty clunky, but it worked. But our anodizing was pretty deep, nice. So the things that you expect from a first world nation manufacturer, right? Like you want it not to have sharp lines, like sharp edges. You want it to have good coloring. You want it to have decent accuracy. You want these things. Like we tried to give you all that, but it was $2,700.
Mhm.
That's what we love it. That's why we really worked hard to get the Mark III in for 18. So,
I will say, and not trying to blow smoke up your skirt, but the Mark III, if you blindfolded me, I could have swore HK made it. Like the fit and finish is there.
It is, and we made sure the markings were HK like. Come on, we know what we like. Like we all go like, I wish my gun looked more like an HK. So 100% we stole the aesthetics of the HK.
Like down to the marking on the safety and fire, like that is quintessential.
It's quintessential HK. They don't have a friggin' patent on it, so it's like, let's make it look like HK. Like why not? Like I love it. Yeah. So I mean, back on track is Well, it sucks the shooting edges closed down. We made it to 25 years.
Mhm.
People can detract and they can throw all the mud they want. I made it to 25 years.
Yeah.
Like that's
Well, the last number of 8 or 9 years under Trudeau. Unfortunately.
And fighting. I mean, I was fighting ex-partners. I was fighting an ex-wife. Like it was a fight, and then the government. Like it's just been a friggin' slog. And so I gotta say, like it's like I'm amazed I was able to hold the shooting edge together for as long as I did.
Yeah.
And so that's the thing. So when people say, well, we knew months before, like we didn't. We thought we were selling it until 5 weeks ago.
That's something we went into a little bit before we started the show, that you thought you had a buyer. Could you go into that? Kind of the details.
We did. So we've been trying to sell it, and we thought we'd had one, and we had verbal agreements even from Colliers that they weren't going to be stupid. So I had somebody else dealing with the file. It still went back to the same guy, but I had somebody who was being more reasonable, like who kind of negotiate, be that bridge. But then they came back with all these stupid requirements for upfront payment and then all these personal guarantees to do it. I'm like, the buyer just like, are you shitting me? I'm like it was right. So it's like return the deposit that they'd made on the business, and that was it.
So you had a landlord that was not only increasing your rent dramatically, the landlord was also not very the opposite of rejective of any takeover of the business by any other investor or company. So at that point, it was pretty obvious that they were trying to drive you out.
Well, I don't think so. I think it was more they thought that no matter what they did, I just keep paying. Yeah. Like so I like people think that the market would like wanted more space or the school. I think it came down to more of they just thought I'd keep paying because I'm paying more rent. Like my per square footage is higher than the school next to me on one side and the market. So I'm paying above market rates. Like I found out that. So I'm paying higher than everybody else. I'm paying the most amount rent, base rent,
in that complex.
in the entire building.
Sounds like you're
So-
being discriminated against.
Yeah.
Wait,
So-
you ought to talk to Jag Meat. Greedy landlords.
And that's white privilege for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Fuck's sake.
Okay, we're all
There's no recourse at all for that kind of thing.
Yeah. No, remember, commercial real estate is not like residential real estate or personal real estate.
Yeah, I don't
Right?
know.
There's no landlord tenant. It's what does your lease say?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right? That's
Yeah.
what it comes down to. So yeah, that thing is like sour grapes. Well, I'd love to have kept it open. I'd love to keep things going. So I tried really hard. I tried every trick.
Yeah.
We pivoted so many times. I mean, I invested $200,000 like a year and a half ago to get the axe throwing with the lounge and the kitchen, like all that stuff. But the nice thing, it's interesting when you do something and then you see what happens, because I'm not a restaurateur, even though I know lots of restaurateurs. So I laughed about it. I put up a Michelin tire on the wall. It's a small one. I bought it on eBay, and I put it on the wall. And so all these guys, because my business in the UK, and they're all Michelin star chefs. Like the restaurants all have Michelin stars. And I go, losers! You got a star. I got the tire. And I pointed to the pictures of my tire. They're like, fuck you.
One AB says Doug
I'm
Meat
a
wants to
Michelin-
know who said
I'm a
that.
one Michelin tire restaurant.
I said that, motherfucker.
Yeah, I got the Michelin tire.
Mhm.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which is the perfect joke for those who understand the joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Corrupt bastard.
Yeah, but it was good. Yeah, so we said, yeah, you know what? But we served great food, Ted. Like anybody who came in,
Yeah, it was good.
we got accolades for the quality of the food.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But so I like that. I like we served good food. We had reasonably priced beer. I mean, we laugh because we had basic bitch beers, we called it. So we had Coors Light and stuff, but it was $6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, so you could come in and have a pizza, beer, and axe throw, like two people, and you're under $100. Like you come out and it's $50 for the axe throwing, your beer, your pizza, like you're with a tip, you're under $100.
Yeah.
Which I think for a night out is pretty good.
Yep.
Yeah,
It
and I
is
don't in Calgary. That's definitely on the cheap side.
So because we said like we got it, because we tried to be as reasonable as we could and still try to make money. But the upside was our staff members, because remember when people came in to shoot, they only made, like maybe every now and then throw about $20 or whatever. Like, so their tips were, we'd pay out on the system on average before the axe throwing and the lounge was in between, I don't know, $600 and maybe $1,000 in 2 weeks to the staff that ran through the tills.
Yeah.
Once we put in the axe throwing in the lounge, the least amount that we paid out in tips to our staff was $5,000.
Holy
Went
crap.
from less than
dramatic change.
$1,000 to 5,000. So
Right.
some of our guys were making, the top guys who worked full time and were hustling, made about $3,000 a month that we saw, just credit cards in tips. So they were basically adding, 50% of their wages
Mhm.
or take
Yeah.
home in tips.
Hmm.
It was impressive.
Yeah.
The difference.
Doing
So-
something right, JR.
Yeah. So it was one of those things. So we had lots of group bookings and all kinds of, and fundraisers, and it was amazing the shit that was going on. And
Yeah.
Colin, I'm really glad you had a good time, man. Yeah. Staff great. The beer was cold. Fuck. I'm glad you had a good time. Like we threw some great parties, man.
Mhm.
So we saw the people come through, and I loved it. Like, because what happened is before people wouldn't come in because it was just gun shooting.
Yeah.
But then we added the axe throwing in the lounge, and then you get people saying, "Well, not everyone wants to shoot, but they want to do the axe throwing, or they just can sit and have a beer."
Yeah.
So we now all of a sudden we got all these groups and these people in, and our axe throwing was cool. Like the axe throwing, if you didn't see it, it projected games. So it wasn't just you're throwing at circles on the wall. So it was like bowling with axes. So you could pick all these games and you put your names at the top and it would keep score and everything.
Mhm.
And my favorite game of all was called Pirate Tic-Tac-Toe. And what it was tic-tac-toe, but you could steal squares. And so whenever we had families come in, I would always go over and tell them to play that game.
Right.
Because it almost would devolve to fist fights by the end. It was epic because every time you stole the square, it got smaller.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But they would have so much fun arguing, and then if you took your phone, there was a QR code, and you could cheer or jeer. So you were like, yay, or, woo! So it was so funny to watch these people, like the kids, the families, fight it out with this stuff. So I loved it. I loved the axe throwing, and the social interaction. Because to me, shooting is very social, and the axe throwing is social. And now we had a point where the members could come in, shoot in gangles, then go into the lounge and have a beer.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the way it should be. So they order a pizza, they'd have a beer, and they're like, well, what do we do with our guns? They go, well, you're not going back to the bay. Well, no. Okay,
Right.
we're done. Like, we're good. Technically, we're supposed to take them away and put them away, whatever. Like, but our members were adults. And unless they showed us that we shouldn't treat them like adults,
Mm-hmm.
then we treat them like adults.
Yeah.
It's like, we just say, you can't go in the bay now because you've had alcohol. They're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the end of it. Like, they never try. They never once, not once did we ever have somebody try to go back in.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's it.
Yeah.
The shooting country club, I always said, well, shooting, what is it? It's a country club with guns. Opie, and Frank. Renee, yes. So Opie and Frankie were the range dogs. So Opie was a Bernese Mountain Dog, and Frankie, she was a Golden Lab. And I love those dogs. I'm gonna miss them. I'm lucky. So Frankie's owned by Steve, so he's still with me. But Opie was with one of the staff members, and he's a burner. And I used to have burners in St. Bernard, so I love them.
Mm-hmm.
But he would come into my office and hang out with me for hours. And he'd just come in and he'd climb on my couch and in my office and just hang out. And then every now and then they'd come over. Where's my cookie? You got to give me my cookie.
Yeah, right.
Give me my cookie, and I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm.
I want my cookie. I want my cookie tax. So I'd give him a cookie and he'd stay around. So yeah.
If you were to give some advice to a new business owner starting a firearms business today, what would that advice be? Like, say they wanted to start a gun store.
Run away! Run away! Run away! No. I would say know your market in your area because every market's different.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Once you know your market, then stay in your lane. Right? And make sure you're well capitalized because everything costs twice as much as you think it does. I mean, I've been in
The
business
sticker
now.
isn't always all there is.
That's the reality. I mean, I'm putting together this new space, and I got caught with all kinds of costs that I didn't think of, and I've been in business for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
So when I look back at people who are just getting into it, you know what? I'm happy to mentor people. If people want to build a range or build a gun store or build whatever, reach out to me. unless you're building it next to me, so you're going to steal my customer base.
Yeah.
Besides that, the only reason I have my businesses is because people mentored me. So reach out to me. I'm happy to talk to you. So if anybody out there wants to do this or is thinking about it and just wants to know whether it's viable, call me. I'll sign an NDA because I'm not going to open up a store in your neighborhood.
Steal your great idea.
No. I'll sign an NDA and a non-circumvent.
Yeah.
So that way they know I can't go there. Like I
Yeah.
can't do it. And I'm happy to mentor them. I'm happy to tell them because I was looked after like that the same way. So I'm happy to do it. I've done it already. I've helped. I've talked to a lot of people, but I'm happy to do more.
Mm-hmm.
Like the more open we are with each other in this industry, the better it is. Right? And it's different if you want to open a gun store 2 blocks from me. If you're in a different jurisdiction, like come on, I'm happy to help you.
Yeah.
Like as the shooting community, we got to stop sniping at each other too.
Yeah. Well, exactly. I mean, I would say I get along with 95% of the industry. Like, there's some stores that they just hate my guts. There's nothing I can do. Fine. Like, I don't lose sleep over that because I know who they are. It's like, yeah, but besides that, because we all make mistakes. Like, we all do things. Like, the thing I like about Calgary and about Alberta is you're allowed to make mistakes. You're allowed to make mistakes as long as you own up to them.
Right, own it.
Most people, like in this town, because we're an entrepreneurial city. Oil and gas, tries, plays, risks. Like that's the way we are in Alberta. That thing is though, guys in Ontario
fight until you're dead kind of mentality.
They don't understand. We are different. We're a different breed.
Yeah.
100%.
Like in Calgary, nobody will judge me poorly in Calgary because my business failed. No, like I don't have to go hang my head down and people will not go, oh, your business failed. They'll go like, oh man, like the people I work, like I'm around, will be like, hey, you risked it, didn't work. What's next? The question will always be, what's next?
Yeah.
They judge you more for giving up, not doing something next.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, it's like if I just said, oh, well, I'm just going to retire, they'd be like, pussy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, so I failed. So what?
Mhm.
I failed.
It's almost like there's a quote, it's like to err is human or something.
Well, I actually had Brett Wilson call me.
Oh,
Really?
He's a great guy. And he said, okay, you failed. And he said, so what's next? Like, because he knows me. He knows this is Alberta, man.
Mm-hmm.
What's next? Like you're not letting this define you, are you? And I'm like, absolutely not, man. Absolutely not. It failed. I tried. I put 100% in. I can stand there with my head held high and say, I tried 100%. And on my exit, I did everything I could to do everything right, honorable, and proper.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you can do. Like I didn't do a pump and dump. It just didn't work. Yeah. Yeah, Jonathan Bergen, yes. Flames. What? Boo! 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 You didn't put an oil and gas thumbs up there. Oil and gas thumbs up.
Yes, oil and gas definitely.
Big thumbs up to oil and gas. Let's give them.
We can debate the Flames and Oilers later.
Yeah,
but
I agree with Ted. Sometimes what we do, it fails. But what do you learn? What did I learn from the failure? What did I learn from what learned from this? And I've had other businesses fail. I've had other things go down. Like, we'll be fine, man.
Yeah.
And we'll come out stronger. Oh well, Colin, in some ways I failed because if I'd negotiated a better lease years ago, so these are all lessons learned. like the escalation. If I negotiated a maximum escalation, then maybe I could have avoided this.
Yeah. Maybe could have held out for the next
maybe,
government and more favorable firearms business.
Yeah,
hopefully in the near future.
But will the next government actually help us? I hope they do.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, how do you know a commercial real estate guy or a politician is lying?
His mouth is moving.
Yeah.
Kids, remember, it doesn't matter. I have great MPs. Fuck, I got Stephanie Kuzi. I got Shu Mujamdar. I've got great MPs in my area, but they have to toe the party line.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, they don't get to dictate what the government does.
Mm-hmm.
So as much as I love them, and they're on my side, at a certain point, like it's just me against the world.
Yeah.
So I will not make a business decision ever based on a politician's promise.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's best to bank on results of things that you can control, not that you hope will happen.
Yeah, and that's exactly it.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what? I have to make every decision based on, and I'd say this, like Trudeau or somebody like him being in power.
Yeah.
Yep.
So how do we navigate based on a douchebag being in power who hates our industry? So I have to work on that.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I base things around that, then if I get a very positive government, then I can grow.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've designed everything against an adversarial government.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hope for the best, plan for the worst.
Yeah. So,
story of my love life.
So one I'm like Tiananmen Square, Trudeau. About in February, I was actually in Tiananmen Square. So I was over there to look at some Chinese equipment.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted some manufacturing equipment.
Yeah.
So I went to Tiananmen Square. So because Tiananmen Square is right there, where it's also where they have every morning they have their flag raising for the Communist Party, and it's packed. Anyway, there's a security line for Chinese citizens. There's a security line for tourists.
Mm-hmm.
Rather interesting. So we get up at 4:30 in the morning, and we go because it's 5 o'clock in the morning. We're going to go through security, and I get there and I throw my passport on the scanner, and it's like me, nothing reads, me, and they're like this little 4-foot Chinese guy. It's like no, just that's all I can say is no. But this 6-foot fucking Chinese guy walks out, and a perfect American, like Los Angeles English goes, "Oh, yeah, Cox. Yeah, I saw your passport last night. You're okay. Go through." I'm like, the fuck?
That's concerning.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Anyway, I was going like, okay, thanks. And I go through it. I'm like, that's a country that they just paid a little too close attention to everything.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
Wow. So,
Well, Chris, good luck wherever you are.
Yes.
good thing my name's not Michael.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's a bad name to have in China. Mike, don't go to China.
Don't plan on it.
Yeah.
Oh, it was interesting. I ate all kinds of weird food. I hope to never eat again.
Good.
I've heard some of the cuisine stories, and I can understand that.
Yeah, I wish I could share photos with you guys on this show, guys. Fuck me.
Mm-hmm.
Weird stuff. My wife's a vegetarian, so I sent her pictures of the turtle I had to eat. It was.
It's soup that comes with its own bowl. It's environmentally friendly.
No. It was like it's like they had a turtle walk around. They go pick. I'm like, what? And it's like they cut the turtle in front of you. The shop, and it's like, it's a delicacy. They're like, this is wonderful. I'm like, you're a bunch of heathens.
You just do little Roman Emperor.
He
I'm like,
lives.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think I'm gonna throw up about now.
Yeah.
Yeah, throw a little MSG.
Can't I
on
just
it,
take
it'll
him
be fine.
home?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, the R18, the R18. We'll have the R9 in early November, and then we're hoping, but because we're not going to release the R18 until we get some high round count guns. So until our Canadian Canadian manufacturer that we have making us our bolts, we need new bolts. When we get the bolts, then we can start testing our rifles.
You got everything else.
And the rifles we have 25 rifles.
Yeah.
We have 10 rifles. When we know they work, we're going to send 10 rifles out to people who are going to shoot them, do reviews and stuff like that. We have 5 rifles of that we're going to send to ranges.
Yeah.
They just, here you go. Here's 5. We're going to send rifles out to commercial ranges. Go crazy. Just you gotta keep track of your rounds like we did before.
Right.
We're gonna have 10 rifles that we're gonna shoot the fuck out of. But we can't because the bolts were unsafe. And everybody goes, oh, these are Turkish bolts. No, these are Canadian bolts. Like no, they're from Canada, and Canadian company fucked up. So
Right.
we're at the mercy of getting new bolts.
Mhm.
So get our new bolts, and we're happy and they work. Then we can start putting rounds for these rifles, and we need to get 10 rifles with 5,000 rounds through each rifle before we can release them to the public.
Mhm.
Like we need to. Like we need to document that these are high round count rifles.
Yeah.
That will work before we do that.
Different testers, different testing conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna send 10 rifles out to these people to shoot, but we need to document 10 rifles that we get. So 50,000 rounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. So we go, why do Canadian companies don't do it? Because 50,000 rounds equates to, who wants to do the math? How much money is that?
At least
That's
$40,000.
$50,000 in ammo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you multiply $50,000 in ammo that we're going to spend, plus the manpower to make sure these rifles work as advertised.
Yes.
At $23 a box, that's $57,500 worth of ammo.
Right. So it's
And
a
also,
lot
what's your income flow at that time? That's another thing is expenditures, income
Yeah,
is
but I consider that all part of R&D.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I hate when a company in Canada uses Canadian companies, like Canadian consumers, as their guinea pigs. I hate it. I mean, look what we're stuck with. Look at the legacy of the 180.
Considering
I mean,
that the 180 is the base of the SCAR, I think the AUG is based off the 180, the MPX is based off
but
the
you look at the
180.
WK 180 that Wolverine released. And you know what? Great. They want to release a $1,000 rifle. That's what the goal was. $999. It's a piece of shit rifle.
Also, most Canadians, they're kicking in a Wendy's door, not a real door, so it's not like you need to have the top tier rifle.
No, but it was $1,000 rifle, and so the everything would break, but it was $1,000 rifle. But now it's a $1,600 rifle, and it still has the same fucking problems. So I don't believe that's reasonable. Right? So
No, you've got a fair point.
With Spectre coming out with their Mark III, I'm excited about it. I hope they have a great rifle. Right? Because,
It did look more original to the design when we looked at it at TACOM this year.
yeah, it looked exactly like the internals of an R18 Mark II.
Dun, 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 dun.
But no, come on. They went for a rifle length. They went for a multi like. But you know
Right.
what? If they can make that work for them, great, right?
Mhm.
Like I don't care. Like it doesn't hurt my feelings. I stole most of our design from like HK and SIG and our design. Like
Yeah.
I cannot stand here on some moral high ground about looking at things. But when I looked at the piston rifle, and everybody goes, "Oh, you stole from there the HK 416." I go, "No, I didn't. No, I did not. I stole from Southern Gun Company in the UK." And everybody goes, "What?" I go, "So Fat Bob, that's his nickname in the UK. His name's Fat Bob. And why? Because he's about 500 pounds.
Oh my!
Fat Bob. Fat
He
Bob.
designed the piston AR rifle. Done.
Mhm.
He designed it. He made this rifle, and he was testing it in the US, and he was doing a demonstration. And the HK engineers walked up in the bay and said, "Oh, this is beautiful. Can we take some photos? This is amazing." And they took some photos, and literally 3 months later, the 416 was fucking introduced.
No
They
way.
stole it 100%. And he had it patented. But he goes, I talked to him, I go, "Why didn't you fight it?" He goes, "I'm going to fight the German government." Really?
It's a tough
Like,
go.
like
I
seriously.
mean, the UK
I'm
took
gonna-
a war out of it about 80 years ago.
Yeah, I'm going to fight the German government and win.
Mhm.
He goes,
Yes.
I don't have enough money to do that. He said, "I would eventually win, but at what cost?" I
Yeah.
said, "You know what? Bob, I'm not going to call you on that. I get it.
Yeah.
But Fat Bob, he invented it. He perfected it, and an HK ripped it off. 100% ripped it off. So, and that's that they can say, "We're going to sue you for slander." Fuck you, HK. You stole it. You stole it 100% from Fat Bob at Southern Gun Company. He invented it.
Mhm.
Right?
And
Just
if you
like-
can't release the MP7 to civilians,
Yeah, just like everybody who has the CQB rifle, with that really fucking cool stock. You know who invented that? Jeff Hussey of NEA.
really,
That came from Canada. People can call out Jeff at NEA for all kinds of shit. That kid invented all kinds of stuff. He invented all kinds of stuff. He may be a shitty business guy. He may be shitty for all kinds of stuff. But as an inventor, that kid invented all kinds of great things. All kinds of great things. Remember, as much as we hate NEA as far as their production quality, they were the first guys to come up with a non-restricted AR-15. They did it.
yeah,
Yeah.
They
So we could call them out on all kinds of stuff. They broke the mold and they gave us the non-restricted AR-15. So you know what? I'm going to stand here and say, Jeff Hussey, thank you. And Canadians should say, you know what? As a manufacturer, you may suck, but thank you very much. Right? Like that's called. Yeah, exactly. So,
The Ted. Yeah.
Just because he may not be a great businessman, but he was a great inventor. So let's give Jeff Hussey a shout out for being a great inventor. Not a great business guy,
Mhm.
but he was fucking to Jeff Hussey for fucking
Needed
he
four
gave
more
us the
scotch.
CQB stock. He gave us a non-restricted AR-15. He gave us a non-restricted AR-10.
Mhm.
That's Jeff Hussey. And people fucking hack on NEA, but if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have had those rifles.
I think that's a big problem in the Canadian community is we don't know our industry very well. We really don't.
Not at all.
We don't. So
We need to do sorry
I
to
really-
interrupt you, JR, but those Canadian history heritage minutes?
Yeah.
I think maybe we should do a series for Canadian gun innovations and history.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is too, is like There's been some people, and they get hacked on and hated in Canada, but it's like they helped us, right? Like the Ken Kuchas, who commercial ranges, Jeff Hussey, the non-restricted AR-15, the non-restricted AR-10, like the CQB stock, which is used the world over now. Like, look at how many companies have come up with their own version of a CQB stock.
Right.
All
Wasn't
based on
the flat top upper was invented in Canada, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And I think Phil was part of
Canada. Back then, Damaco came up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing is we've had some great inventors, and I want these guys to not be forgotten in history. Like, not be forgotten. And I think that's what's important is we just go get, you may not like them, but you have to remember what they've added significantly to our ability to have fun. The fun factor is up because of that. You may not like them because of other things, but the fun factor is high because of that. So Jeff Hussey, because that's the thing is too, is like I like that we've got so many great things because of these guys. Can't forget. And then we look at Apex Optics. You know what? Like Curly and Van. I know it's like, no, but they've done great things. Like they've gone. I mean, okay, they're not made in Canada. Whoop de fucking do. We don't have any great optics manufactured in Canada. They went to Japan. They went to one of the best companies in the world, and they got their optics made. Great. And now they're bringing this to Canada at a reasonable price. Like Canadians keep going, oh, I don't like the Canadian tax. I pay the Canadian tax. It's and then companies come in and say, okay, we've done this to bring the price down to give you good stuff. Like the equivalent of a Night Force at Canadian dollars. Oh, I want a Night Force. The same thing, because I want a Night Force. It's like, if you don't support it, that is the same quality. Like, you don't need to support something because it's just Canadian if it's shit. Just because it's shit doesn't mean you should buy it. But if it's
still on you as a
level,
consumer. Yeah,
as a consumer, if it's that level and it's a little bit less money or the Canadian dollar, buy it, support them, because otherwise it's the same things. I wish they made cell phones here, like back made phones again, because it's all made in fucking China now.
Yep.
That's right. Everybody goes, oh, you're R18 Mark III. You're getting most of those parts from Turkey. You go, and you're running that on your fucking Apple phone right now, which is made in China.
Yeah.
Like shut your cake hole.
Winchester gets their shotguns made in Turkey. Winchester. Not exactly a slouch in the firearms industry.
Beretta gets so many of their parts made in fucking Turkey. Beretta,
CZ,
Benelli. So people who think
all of them.
Remember, and all you young folk don't remember, but back in the 80s, you bought a Toyota because it was cheap.
Yeah.
Right now, we buy Toyota because it holds its value.
Yeah.
People who write off Turkey do it at their own peril. Oh yeah. When Alberta, so how do you pronounce that?
We just call them one AB.
One AB. The other words don't matter.
Exactly.
Yeah. One AB is easiest to pronounce. Yeah.
Okay.
It's like Landlord is a slouch in the shotgun game either.
Okay, on this, Tech Park, Novotel got screwed by China. Totally screwed by China. I would never give any IP to China. Never.
Oh no.
Right? So
they're actively trying to steal it, even if you're not in China.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm an old fuck. So back in the 80s, a friend of mine, he worked a deal, and it took him years to build a television factory in China.
Yeah.
And he had to sign all kinds of agreements because he was taking a lot of technology from Canada and the US to China to build television. they got all the permissions, and he had to sign, like, he had to promise about transfer of technologies and everything. Dave Parks, his name was Dave Parks. And literally the day after they opened the factory, the Communist Party nationalized the factory, kicked him out.
Mm-hmm.
Because he signed all these technology transfer agreements between Canada and the US, he spent his last 10 years of his working career working for the Vancouver School Board, fixing audio-visual equipment.
Oh, God.
Right? This guy was a brilliant television designer. Like, he's forgotten more about electronics than most people I know would know in their entire lives.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's sad, but I would never trust a Chinese company with my IP.
Yeah.
It was a lesson I learned 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. That's just the way it is.
Well, we're going on about 2 hours and 20 minutes. Is there anything you feel?
We had to beat Carly and Van's 2 hours and 28 minutes or something. You're not going to be as long as us. People want to talk to us longer. So come on, get those questions going on. We're trying to actually respond to your questions.
Yeah, I was about to say, if anybody left in the chat has any remaining questions, time to get them out now.
Yeah. Okay. And the question came up earlier about Swiss Arms, and I'm going to actually just quickly address it.
Mm-hmm.
If you're after 12 years, if you're talking about Swiss Arms, you probably don't know the entire story. I know you don't. And you've listened to one side of the story. There's lots to it. I have personally taken my responsibility for pointing it out to the police. And in doing so, I also agreed to an apology to the Calgary Shooting Center to put it to bed. Like, at some point, please let it go. I've let it go. I mean, it's easy for me to let it go because, but the shooting center has let it go. They got their comeuppance. They got their apology for me hurting their feelings, and we both have NDAs. So I can't debate you on it because I'm not going to get into it. But it's a very complex issue, and if you hate me because of it, you really don't know what you're talking about.
Find other hobbies too.
You don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know. So move on to hate me for something else.
And for our American listeners who are still butthurt about the War of 1812, it's been 200 years. You also can move on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, like, we beat you. It's the only time we're going to beat you. So we're going to latch onto it. So 1812, yeah.
We got one W early on, so we're going to take it.
We beat you then. And you know what? And since then, we've been sucking up to you to try to be your friend. So, like, yeah, let it go. Let us have the win, man. Come on, let's have the win.
Everyone's like, oh, we want the DEW line. I'm like, well, it's in our territory. Yes, you can use our land for missile defense.
Yeah. No, so I know the guys, like the Swiss Arms thing, to some people is near and dear. I own 10 Swiss Arm rifles. I have $90,000 in Swiss Arms parts. So it's not like I wanted it. Oh yeah, because every trigger group is $900. So I have so much in Swiss Arms parts put away. So I understand. It sucks. You don't like me because of it, but it's way more complex than this facade that's been presented. And if you really want to know, because I'm not going to get into another fight with a shooting center over it. Like, we both just want. I know I do. I want to put to bed. They may not want to, but I'm not going to be led into a big fight over it.
And
Let's,
focus
come
on the real enemy, which is the government.
I'm gonna on Sunday night.
Mhm.
We're going to publish the address of where we're having the classes, and you have my address, the email address, jr@theedgegroup.ca. It's there. Like I haven't hidden from it, so you can reach out, send me an email, and then I'll fucking meet you for a beer or coffee. I'll fucking buy, and we can talk about stuff. We can talk about your fucking anger towards me. You can vent to me. You just want to come in and yell at me, fucking throw a beer in my face? Well, I can have a shower after. I'm good. I'm okay. Like, seriously, have a conversation with me. Don't just hate on me for the sake of hating on me.
Yeah, just to clarify, your email is jr@theedgegroup.ca.
Yeah.
I'm just going to put that in the comments for people.
Like, I can be mad that everyone who's older than me that didn't do anything when the MP5 got banned, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to get an MP5 anyways. So why am I going to hold resentment to anyone who had a PAL during that time, or FAC?
Oh,
like,
sorry.
Yeah, it sucks I can't have an MP5, but I'm not going to dwell on it every day of my life.
Yeah, there's bigger things, I think.
So, sorry, I got to address this because this is self-serving. Ted, you asked what kind of scotch I like in case you want to bring me a bottle. I'm partial to single malts. I don't like too much peat because if it's too peaty, it's almost like iodine. I don't need my medicine. So I'll let you find something there and we'll go from there.
May I recommend?
But Ted, when you come in, you have to identify yourself, and I'm happy for us to open that bottle together. Send me an email before you come in, and I'll make sure you're there, and we'll open it, and we'll have a drink. Like I no longer have a shooting range, so and I no longer have to worry about AGLC, so we can have a drink together, and I can tell you what's going on. Like I can show you the world.
Excellent. All right, final words.
Hey, I really appreciate tonight. Like, and the hard questions, like guys asking questions, like I'm happy to answer them.
Yeah, and apologies if we did.
There's lots of questions, man.
Yeah.
People are hurt. Remember, people. The shooting edge was a club. People were invested. In the shooting edge. 25 years.
So that's too good not to bring up.
I wish Mark Campbell wasn't here because he'd be like, I lost 2 legs. Fuck you. I've never seen a guy more happy to get into a fight than Mark Campbell. If you're on King Gun Nuts, it's at Bartok 5. And he was my major in the Army.
Oh.
And so if you pick up a fight with Bartok 5, like you're fucked, man. Like you are fucked. Because he's been collecting military firearms for 40 plus years.
Oh,
he's got a mechanical engineering degree. So he's a Bartok's beast. Because he knows military firearms. He's bought them all. He shoots them. Like when you go take him, like because he lost his legs in Afghanistan, so he's in a wheelchair. And I always tease him like, Lieutenant Mark, you ain't got no legs. And it's like, and he's like, fuck off. Well, he loads like 50 guns in his truck when he goes to the range. And he shoots them all. But he knows guns. So every time I go to send him a sample, you don't know how nervous I am. Because he's not going to go,
it's like handing your homework into the teacher.
That's great, JR. I love it. He'd be like, oh no, he tears it to fucking pieces. Like the first thing he does, he changes the muzzle brake. He does this. I go, will you just fucking shoot it the way it is? Like, please. Like, no, because that's not how I like it. Like,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I know your extractor is wrong.
I quiver my boots. I'm like, please test this, and I'm like, I don't want to. Like, part of me does not want to send it to him.
Mm-hmm.
I know he does not suffer fools lightly. So when he's on CGN, people say he's a shill. I'm like, you fuckers have no idea who this guy is. Because he is not a shill for anyone. Like, if he doesn't like, he could be my best friend. He could be married to me.
Mm.
And if I gave him a rifle, he'd go, it's shit.
Yeah.
And then be like, yeah, I shot 5 rounds. It was shit. I stopped doing it. Like, that's the guy he is. Like, but that's why you give him a rifle, because if he shoots,
you need that guy.
Like anybody who said like who doubts his reviews, it's at their own peril, man.
Right.
like
sunlight is the best disinfectant.
Oh,
yeah.
That's right. I don't like people may fucking hate Bartok 5. Like, but Mark, I know that if I said he's the first guy to go, crap.
Mm-hmm.
He will not give me a win, like for a single win. So like whatever. But I mean, to be quite honest, I can't go over to CGN very much because I can't handle the bullies, the internet bullies.
The 400-pound dudes in their basement with a bub at SKS.
Yeah, I mean,
it's Twitter with the gun.
But that's only 20 guys. 90% are decent human beings who just
it's the same 20 guys.
Yeah, but the same 20 guys come on and hammer, and then insult everybody else. Like somebody comes and says, "Well, I don't think that," and then they fucking hammer him like, "Oh, you're a shill, or you haven't had an account long enough." Oh, or this, or any excuse to hate on them. They're saying, I had a good experience at shooting edge. Oh, you're just a shill for the shooting edge. It's like,
right, yeah.
Like
I've said for a very long time, dumbest dog barks the loudest.
That's very true.
My
uncle's dog.
My staff gave people amazing experiences.
Yeah,
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when new people came in, like. I look at Grandpa sneeze.
Bless you.
No, it's like Bob. The cat's running around. My staff gave people, the new shooters, amazing experiences. Will the Calgary Shooting Center stock their team for Calgary? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Those people hate my guts. They have done everything they can to hurt me. The Calgary Shooting Center actually manipulated and got involved with my divorce so they could be the industry experts. So that they could. Oh, yeah. And like, instead of just staying away from it, they latched on to my ex-wife so they could be the experts to tell them how awesome the industry was and how I was lying about it.
Holy fuck.
Right? So no. I'm willing to just let bygones be bygones.
Mm-hmm.
But they will never profit from me because they have cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars by telling my ex-wife, oh no, the handgun ban, oh no, that'll be fine. That won't impact the shooting range at all. Oh no, the rifle ban. Oh, that
just like Dominic LeBlanc.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They were just as bad as the fucking Liberal Party. So like everybody picks on me because they go, oh, you tried to shut down the shooting center. Those fuckers, they put billboards outside of my building when they were opening up to say, you should go over to the shooting center. They went to town halls and said, you know what, we don't kill people. The shooting edge is unsafe. Like, no. Like I lost the war. The shooting center, they've got their accolades. They have their people that love them. Great. They have great inventory. Great. They're a shooting center that's alive in Calgary. Fine. But personally, with my businesses, I do not have to support them or financially embrace them.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
So we will find other places in Calgary.
Yeah.
That will sell the Sterling Arms rifles.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's reasonable.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
That's not nasty.
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable.
Okay. Okay. We're gonna close this off here, JR.
Yeah.
We-
Because I'm almost out of whiskey.
Exactly.
In this bottle.
Yes, of course. As we saw, there is I'll definitely more where that came from.
We
As
could
you
literally
might-
go for 6 hours, but like I
Yes.
gotta go to bed.
Yep.
So a Trust and Ask, is there a place for Calgarians to try out the R18 when it comes to drop stand? Probably at straight shooters. So we'll probably have it at straight shooters in the Northeast. We'll probably get them some rifles. So in Calgary, there'll be a range that we'll have them to shoot.
Okay. We're going to close this off. As you might know, traveling to create content can be pretty expensive. A little industry secret. YouTube doesn't pay very much. From flights to accommodations, not to mention food, beer, and heroin isn't getting less expensive. All the other costs to run it adds up. So if you've been looking for a way to support the channel directly so we can keep bringing you location coverage like TACCOM, SHOT Show, etc., head on over to storiedknives.com or cdnprecision.com, especially if you're in the eastern half of the country. Not only you're picking up a kick-ass knife that'll last you a lifetime, but you're also helping the show grow. A massive thank you to all of our sponsors. Without you, we wouldn't have a show in the first place. Shane and Steve with EM Precision Rifles, Miles, Carrie, and Cappy with call sign 66, Duncan and Rob at Bolt Action Coffee, Phil Odell at Odell Engineering, Doug and Niza with March Scopes Canada, Vanya and Carly with Apex Optics, Oscar with Ribscone Gunsmithing, and of course, the man of the hour today, JR Cox. Thank you very much, JR. It's much
Thanks,
appreciated.
guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, JR.
Because you're busy.
Mhm.
Not tonight, I'm not.
Yes.
We appreciate it.
Good night, boys.
All right. Thanks, guys. And thanks, everybody who attended tonight. We will see you next week.
But some of these bullets, as you saw, have an incendiary device on the tip of it, which is a heat-seeking device.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it.
Welcome to your weekly dose of BS, the Ballistically Speaking podcast.